Listen to The Brew for the best classic hits of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. KOKL, Okmulgee, Oklahoma.
SJ, welcome to Mvskoke Radio, your weekly source for tribal and community news, interesting guests and discussions, plus a local events calendar.
Good morning. Welcome to Mvskoke Radio. This is Darren DeLon, usually a reporter for Mvskoke Media, but today, since Gary Fife is out sick, I'll be helping him out today. We got a big lineup for y'all. We got our Challenge Bowl, Annual Challenge Bowl, that's going to be coming up here soon, I think next month, and we're going to be speaking with two people who help organize it and get it going. Also, we're speaking with Billy Haltom, who is the Ag Youth Manager. He's going to be talking about the livestock show that's going to be coming up this weekend as well, and also what their program does and what they offer to all of our children here in the Mvskoke Creek Nation jurisdiction. And finally, last but not least, we're going to be talking with Andra Peters. She's over with the Department of Health. She is doing she's going to be giving us an update on the flu season, how everybody's handling that this year. We haven't heard anything too bad, so hopefully keep our fingers crossed that it stays like that. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and go with Regina Keith, who is with the JOM program, Johnson O'Malley, and also Coca Lowe. She is with our language program. How are y'all two doing today?
Pretty good, Darren.
Doing fine, thank you.
Thank you both for being here. So we're going to be talking about our the Annual Challenge Bowl. If y'all know right offhand, how long has the Challenge Bowl been going? Do y'all know that?
Well, I dug in the archives yesterday, actually, and because we've always kind of gone back and forth what year it was, and I found a document, and it's from 2001, and it was the first Annual Challenge Bowl. 2001. Wow. It was held in Sapulpa, Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yes.
That's great to hear that. I mean, that has been going on that long, and I mean, that time has gone by real quick, and it just makes me realize that I am getting that much older. So,
Me too.
But tell us about the dates of the Challenge Bowl this time. I know we're going to mention it again, but I just want to go ahead and get that started on that. They're going to be, it's held in February, correct?
Yes,
right.
Correct. The first high school division will play or compete next Friday on the 1st. Right. Middle school will be February 8th. And then the following Friday, the last competition will be the 15th, and that will be the elementary division.
All right. And usually with these, we always have a great turnout with the Challenge Bowl. I mean, these teams, usually the majority of the schools that they're from around here, but if I remember correctly, one comes as far as Norman, and they've been coming for a little while. Is that correct?
That's correct. And actually this year, it's not as far, but it's outside of our jurisdiction. We have a high school team that has registered from Sequoia High School. Oh. Yeah, in Cherokee Nation.
Yes. Hey, now, whenever somebody that's out of our jurisdiction like that, or the schools, I apologize, are there members on the team that are Mvskoke Creek, or is it like other tribal members that's just learning about our history and our language?
Sometimes there are Creek kids on those teams, but we don't limit it just to Mvskoke Creek students. Anyone can be any ethnicity and participate in the Challenge Bowl as long as they want to learn about our culture, our government, language. We welcome that. So yeah.
That's great to hear. I mean, that we're getting other tribes. Yes. I mean, I would love to hear a Potawatomi or a Sacafox speaking Creek saying his J and Mado. I would love to hear that. That would be great. So with the high school, that's going to be next Friday.
Yes.
How many schools have you got confirmed for that Challenge Bowl?
Well, we have 38 teams. Now, that's not schools, but that's teams. Each school can bring up to 4 teams. We capped the teams at 4 this year only because of the the space. We had so many teams wanting to get in, and that's a good thing. But we had to try to think of a way to, deal with the space issue. We have it at the College of Mvskoke Nation, which they've been so gracious to let us have it there, and it's a great facility to have it. But whenever we have 53 teams for middle school, so that's a lot of people, a lot of students. So we want to keep it manageable. So we capped it this year. We'll look at it again after this year and see how it went. But it seems like we're still having as many teams compete this year.
Good. With yearly, and this can go for both of y'all, you and Coco, the questions, are they the same every year, or do y'all have to your own committee to bring up the different questions, and are there a lot of a time to go into the research of the history, especially with the questions that are way back in the 1800s, early 1900s, just looking those questions up. How do y'all go about getting that process going? And then also for Coco, with the language, it's not just words, it's phrases and sentences that our children or the students will have to learn. How is that all, devised and prepared for each Challenge Bowl? How does that happen?
We have a committee, and we all divide up the different categories, and we try to change the questions. Some questions we keep the same, but we all come together with different questions, and even for our language, we try to change up the language, words and phrases. Of course, for the elementary, we have words and a few phrases, but for the high school, we try to give them phrases to say. And it's, as soon as we get finished with the Challenge Bowl for the month of February, we'll start for the next Challenge Bowl. We are busy year round, so it's an ongoing thing. We are busy with the Challenge Bowl. As soon as we finish with one, we're starting for the next year.
So as soon as sounds like how tourism and recreation are with the festival. As soon as that one's done, it's like we only got 364 days, or ready to go for the next one. Yeah. Could you, Coco, give us a phrase, maybe that one of them that might be in Mvskoke that's going to be, that might be said or anything like that? Did you happen to bring a phrase here? Do you happen to know which one, or might have been tossed around?
Oh, let's see.
Not Imadad.
Jemahaya Stedonwa, and that is, who is your teacher? Mm-hmm. And, of course, we have other phrases that, I can't even think of them offhand, but we have so many, 100 and something for each category.
Well, yeah, that would have to be because of,
because we don't like to duplicate the questions or the words or the phrases. Sometimes we have to, but it's, and the language portion of the Challenge Bowl is, I know all of it's important, but you wouldn't believe the elementary, especially the elementary kids, they learn this fast. And sometimes before you even say the phrase, if it's a phrase, they're already buzzing in wanting to give the answer. And, that's a portion of the Challenge Bowl I think they really study on hard. And they love the Creek words. And we do a survey at the end of the Challenge Bowl, and a lot of them say they really like the language.
Good.
And they've even put in there they wish that we would have it more than once a year, which is crazy.
Yeah. Hidi-mahi, that's really, really good. Really, just to throw a suggestion out there, why don't they have maybe a language challenge bowl just for adults, since we're the ones that, I know our kids, they're doing a fantastic job, an amazing job. Adults, we're slacking.
That's a great idea.
I will admit that I'm one of them. Adults that are slacking too, but yeah, and I know a lot of them that are listening right now won't admit it, but yes, you are slacking. But with
Can I chime in
yes,
on that
yes,
one?
please, Regina.
As far as the language, I just kind of want to put a plug in. We do need a couple of more language speakers as officials. I know our volunteer coordinator, Melinda Deerenwater, she was letting me know yesterday. So if there are any language speakers, or if you can't speak but you can understand, we'd love to have you volunteer. We just need a couple to come out, and you would contact Melinda Deerenwater at let me get her information. She can be reached at 918-549-2522 or at her email at mdeeringwater, DEERINGWATER at mcn-nsn.gov. So we'd love to have you all.
You know, with it comes to a volunteer for the, I guess, an official on the language. I mean, they got to be. They're listening for that. Make sure that phonetics is perfect. Is that what I'm taking?
Yes, we give them a study guide, and it is spelled out in phonetics where they will know how to pronounce the word. And I know there's different dialects that may say something different, but if it's close, we call it correct. You know, we don't try to just be real hard on them that, you know, they may say it close and somebody might say incorrect, but we try to give them a little leeway to work with.
Wow. Okay. You know, another thing that we're going to be that I wanted to ask about is the one of my favorite people, the Wilbur Gouge Honors Team Trophy.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that, please. Tell me a little bit about that trophy.
Well, this trophy is awarded to the team who displays the best sportsmanship and conduct throughout the day's competition, and it's a one that all the teams really work hard to try to attain and to get that award. Mm-hmm. And the teams are judged by the game officials inside the competition rooms, as well as the committee, you know, outside of the room, and the core committee. And at the end of the competition day, the one with the most points will receive the Wilbur Gouge Honors Team.
With these competitions that are going out, y'all got quite a bit of officials, and I mean for a good reason. I mean, last time I checked, it was like a master judge and moderator. Mm-hmm. Who else is among that in the officials? I mean, who else goes into that one?
Okay, we have a match judge, moderator, scorekeeper, timekeeper, language speaker, and a runner. So we need 6 officials per room, and we have 10 rooms. So at the beginning of a day, we need at least 80 volunteers. Goodness.
So hopefully those people will show up. Hopefully those people will be there. That's what I'm hoping for. You know, with one of the things about their volunteers, it goes. I want to throw out that reminder. They have to be there a little bit earlier before the kids. Is that before the children?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we feed them.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure that because Melinda will have to make sure all her teams that she's got assigned, they all show up. If not, she's going to have to rearrange teams and pull people and things like that. So that's why we like them to get there early.
What's going to be the I guess the prizes? I mean, I know we just talked about the team trophy, but what else is given out to the winners of the challenge bowls?
Yes, we give first, second, third place plaques for the 3 top winners, and then the first place will get a ring. You know, the rings are all in nowadays, and so the first place winners will get a ring. I'm sorry, and then of course we mentioned the Wilbur Gouge Honors Team Trophy.
And at one time wasn't there scholarships given out?
Oh, we give 2 $1,000 scholarships, one to a female, one to a male.
And those are seniors, correct? And
yes.
They have to apply for, not apply for that, but they have to get
yes.
that ready before this challenge.
Yes, they do have to apply for that. That's an application, and they have to write an essay and, stating what the Challenge Bowl has meant to them. And then what we do when we get them in the office, we'll send them out to readers. You know, we don't judge them in our office. We send them out to be read and scored, and then they send them back. And then our winners or our scholarship recipients are selected that way.
Okay. All right. Let's do another quick reminder about the Challenge Bowl. Let's talk about the competition dates again. There's going to be the next 3 Fridays.
Yes.
They'll all start. It'll be in February.
Mm-hmm.
But when? Can you go ahead and let me know that again, Regina?
Yes, February 1st is high school division. February 8th, middle school, and February 15th is the elementary, and those competitions will be held at the Mvskoke College of the Mvskoke Nation.
And we want to make sure that we let all the people know about for language officials that need to get a hold of would like to be a part of that. You don't have to be a fluent, is that correct? But you just have to understand what they're saying or what they're trying to say.
Yes.
They're going to be looking off a little sheet.
Yes.
Tablet. We have
Tablet,
tablets.
yes. And they'll be going from there. But, yeah, they can get a hold of Melinda Deerenwater at 918-549-2522. And if you are a language official, want to be a language official within, and if you work for the tribe, just dial 2522. So, I was noticing some of the questions y'all might have had. And this is going to be a good one. Maybe a lot of people don't even know is like who was a sergeant at arms for the National Council. I mean, and honestly, I didn't know that until I read the cheat sheet. So until I read this, it's our representative from the McIntosh district, Daryl Proctor. So that's going to be a good one, and hopefully, I mean, it'll be great to whenever. These kids are answering it, that the adults that are in there will be able to learn something too.
Yes.
Well, your suggestion, we need to have an adult challenge
I
bowl.
would love that. I would love to get a team ourselves just to get in there.
Yes,
and
that would be
that would
Maybe each department could, have a team.
have a team.
Mm-hmm.
That would
That's
be
a good
great to hear.
idea.
Yes.
Yeah, y'all just
We'll have to run with that.
toss that around in y'all's committee. We'll go with that. But sound like it's going to be a blast again. We got 38 high school teams, correct? And how many are we going to have for middle school? I know that might be a little bit higher.
Oh, middle school is 53.
Oh, wow, goodness.
Teams. Yes, they're always the middle school. We always have the most teams in middle school, and then elementary we have 41.
41.
Yes.
Okay. And you said each school can have up to 4 teams.
Four
Is that correct?
teams,
Okay.
Yes.
And it's not just schools, communities,
Okay.
churches. They
Really?
can enter teams as well.
Okay, I was always just thinking it was schools. Okay, that's another good thing that I just found out today too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be at the College of Mvskoke Nation, and it is the 18th annual
Yes.
annual Challenge
Yes.
Bowl. Wow, Mvskoke Creek Nation Challenge Bowl. Oh man, that that is just, I can't believe how many years it has done that. So, is there anything else? I know they'll just have to holler at Melinda Deerenwater, correct? Or do they need to
Yes.
holler at the JOM or anything like that?
No, not necessarily, but
Okay.
because we want one person is designated to keep track of all the volunteers if that's what they're calling about or wanting information on. But Melinda did want us to remind all the volunteers to arrive on time, and if they'll be running late or have some type of issue that prevents them from being there, to call her on her cell number, which they have, because she says I do check my messages, leave her a message so that she can make arrangements for those teams.
All right. Well, Regina, Coco, I want to thank you all very, very much for coming up here and just giving us an update on what the Challenge Bowl is going to be doing, and we look forward to seeing that again for the next 3 Friday, or after this Friday, but the next 3 Fridays after that. And it's going to be a great time, like always, like every other year before that. It's going to be fun. So I want to thank you both again.
Thank
Madame.
you for
Madame.
having us.
Yes, Mado.
I'm going to get my co-worker, Angel Ellis, who is also another reporter. She is our most recent hire, even though she's been here for a little bit. But I want to go ahead and get her on the radio show. This is kind of like she used to do this before when she previously worked for us, but she's
Yeah, I took a
with
little
us.
hiatus for a while and
Yeah.
worked elsewhere. I guess I started back in 2009 for the tribe, and I was thinking I was just going to be doing some writing, but you don't just come to the Mvskoke Creek Nation and do one thing, right? You have to put on all the
yeah,
hats.
you gotta kind of learn everything.
Learned a little bit of layout design, a little bit of radio, a little bit of just about. I haven't done video yet, and I'm trying to stay low key on that. Like I keep hiding from those cameras. That's my goal. Like
I think I freeze up too every time I ask Jason. I go, "Do I need to do video? Please say no."
oh man, they put me on there just for like those little weekly updates, and I would be like having a heart attack. So yeah, I'm staying away from the cameras. But yeah, I just have been. This is weird to say because I feel like I just graduated high school. It's my personality, I guess. But I have been a journalist for 13 years now.
Yeah.
13 years, and that just kind of blows my mind. And it's been that one job. If I had to pick any of the jobs, I've kind of, as a young person, tried a few things, and you always have that first job. You hate that one because you're like, trying your best, and it's like not where you want to be. But and then I moved on to other things and sales, and in school I was a writer. I liked my comp classes, and I liked doing that stuff. And no one really thinks in school that you're going to grow up to actually do the thing you enjoyed. So I've been really fortunate to be able to do that. And but it took me a while to get there. It was a roundabout way to get to that point in life. So sometimes I just kind of think of it as the easiest job in the world because it's just, just kind of like every day I come to work and I get to learn about something new and I get to write it out, like I get to tell someone's story. So that's kind of the best part of it, I think. And whether it's on the radio or in written form, in the newspaper, online, no matter what, it's always fun and interesting. So that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Awesome. And I'm going to go ahead and keep Angel here for our next segment. We're going to take a quick break, and we are going to come back with Billy Halton with the Ag Youth Manager for the Mvskoke Creek Nation. So please stay tuned to Mvskoke Radio here on The Brew.
I started doing it when I was 11. I wanted to be just like my big brother. And some of my friends were already doing it. We got hooked fast. I just can't get enough. I'm Jacob, and I'm addicted to playing the drums.
There's lots of stuff that makes it cool to be Native. Doing meth isn't one of them. Find something better to do. Check out ncai.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Who am I? Am I Native? I don't want people assuming things because I'm Indian. I just want to be me. But how do I live in two worlds? Some guys just check out by doing meth. But that ain't for me, because I see my family, my friends, my drum making, my future. There are a lot of cool things about being who I am, and meth isn't one of them.
Learn more at ncai.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Welcome back to Mvskoke Radio here on The Brew. That is 1240 AM and 106.3 FM. We just spoke with Brooks Brewer. Matter of fact, right now, throughout this weekend, the Okmulgee County Tournament being held at the Mvskoke Dome. All the schools here in Okmulgee County are playing. They updated the facilities. The facilities look great. Former Principal Chief George Tiger has been out there calling the game, play-by-play for the games. And this will be his last night doing it. Then it'll be Brooks Brewer, the owner here of the Brew. He'll be taking over for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So go over there if you see him, to go by and say hi, see how he's doing, and he'll be talking away on that, giving us the updates for the basketball games. So
some of the best basketball in the county going on right now.
Especially Monday night. Monday night was pretty good, and we're just getting the crowd. We're getting the crowds. I mean, there is. I know a lot. The people that I talked to was talking about they were surprised at seeing how big the crowd was.
Everybody wants to check out the super nice facilities too. That's kind of like, let's go check that out.
I think so.
Good venue, good ball.
Yeah, and they were happy with that. I said, hey, it's only going to get bigger because Thursday night's going to be a good game. Tonight's going to be good games. I mean, these guys, they just put their effort into it. So, but let's change change gears a little bit. We got here Billy Halton. He is our Ag Youth Manager. How you doing today, Billy?
I'm doing great.
That's awesome. Awesome to hear. Honestly, Okmulgee County, majority of it is we see a lot of farming. We see a lot of the cattle. We see a lot of the goats and the pigs, the suckas. And I've been around it my whole life because I went to school at Wilson. I don't have a clue why why we have like FFA or 4-H or anything like that. So please, can you tell us a little bit about what your department does, Billy?
Sure. We are and we're talking about my department. We're talking about the Creek Nation Agriculture Youth Program, and what we do is we try to help our Creek youth be more be able to participate fully in those 4-H and FFA activities, because in Oklahoma, FFA and 4-H is as strong a program as there is as far as developing young leaders, youthful young people who are looking to be leaders in agriculture as well as in our tribal governments. They do an extremely good job of training those people for in those leadership capacities. So therefore, my job is to get our Creek youth enrolled and participating in those programs, hoping that we're going to generate maybe some of tomorrow's future leaders.
Perfect. With even though I was saying I was thinking about all the livestock and everything, agriculture just doesn't deal with that, though. It doesn't deal with animal. It deals with a lot of other things, correct?
Agriculture is everything from botany, chemistry, zoology, all the way up to the grocery store. And people think they're not involved in agriculture, but if you eat, you are participating in agriculture. So we're all involved in agriculture.
I think some of the modern approaches too are talking about the more economic and the more environmental friendly approaches to all the agriculture things. So even people working in conservation or getting into agriculture, right. We have all kinds of many of us have roots, like Darren said, in ag, but some of us kids who kind of grew up in that environment, we weren't necessarily participating in, FFA programs. We were just living it,
Right.
So, but what your program is probably going to do is probably going to appeal to those kids who haven't been maybe necessarily living in that, environment growing up, and maybe expose them to the things that they might be interested in. Is that correct?
Exactly. A lot of our young people are not athletes or don't fit into that. And so this gives them another avenue to be more involved in their school programs and at the same time help them become job aware and ready aware. It's all about making productive citizens out of all of us, and that's what we do. A small percentage of us are involved in production agriculture, but there's a high percentage of the population that is involved in either an agribusiness or some type of business that's supporting agriculture.
Yeah.
We always commonly think of the feed store, but it's anything from the extension research centers all the way up to being vertically integrated, like the Tyson chicken poultry.
Can you kind of walk us through some of the benefits and the skills that you learn? I know when I was young and the first time I ever had my first animal, and taking care of that and how much feed and how we're getting the winter right now and we're going to have to feed a little more and just that was really the first time I ever learned how to balance a checkbook. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That was my exposure to it. And then of course going to sale, it was was my investment, did it pay off, that kind of thing. Can you talk about that and how you guys approach that with kids?
Well, sure. It puts young people in a real-life situation where they're actually not only developing work ethic and responsibility as far as feed and maintaining good animal husbandry with their animal, but also it puts them in a real world financially where they have to, as you say, you learn to balance your checkbook. We've got expenses and we've got profit, and the object is to make money. Showing livestock is not always profitable, but that is in the real life, that's the ultimate goal.
Right. And you're sitting there thinking, wow, that alfalfa is really expensive.
Yes, it is.
Things like that. You really learn that pretty quick when you start looking at your budget as far as that goes. And I think that without that aspect growing up, and my parents didn't necessarily do agriculture as a business or anything, but it was more self-supportive. And so there was that personal investment and, the payoff of how much we're going to have produced for the family kind of, thing to keep in mind. And so, that kind of motivated you when you were getting up that morning if it was kind of cold and you really didn't want to go break the ice in the water, but you did it anyway.
It's days like today that kind of separate the men from the boys whenever it comes to livestock production, because you're breaking a little ice this morning, I can tell you.
Yeah, these kind of days for sure. And like you mentioned that some kids are athletes. I know growing up there was times when out there hauling hay and throwing bales, because we still did bales back then, but the softball coach drives by and he's like, you really need to come play ball. I'm really busy over here doing this, so it really gives those kids who aren't on the ball fields or in the in the gym something that they can kind of look forward to. Can you tell us a little bit about the kids that you serve, and what do you see as the barriers that they've had to overcome getting into this? Do you think that there's anything that you guys kind of help sort out most? I know for me, the first time I bought an animal, it was really expensive. I mean, there's a lot of things going on that you can be preventative. do you guys help out with things like that?
We do. And my job itself is I try to help those young people that are involved in our program and in their local 4-H and FFA programs. If they don't have an FFA program or they don't have an agriculture program in their school, that's where I kind of fill in and I kind of become a substitute ag teacher, if you will, and I try to help those kids more on an individual basis as far as making sure that the things that are getting done on a daily basis are happening as far as care, maintenance, taking care of their animal, working, exercise, that type of thing. I fill in those roles, but we deal with Creek youth who are anywhere from full blood to 512th. And we range in every social, economic background, from people that really need no assistance financially to those that probably couldn't participate in our program if it wasn't for the financial assistance.
Right, yeah, some of those costs associated with it. I mean, if you're not raising any animals right now, you've got to build a pen, you've got to, do all those things and the equipment involved in taking care of them, so.
People naturally assume feed and water is what you're going to buy, but you also they have to be warm, they have to be dry, so you're looking at shelter, you're looking at a pen and an enclosure, somewhere where we're going to keep them out of the mud, keep the rain and weather off of them, and it doesn't take long to accumulate quite a bit of assets or investment, I guess you could say, in your project. The good thing is you already have them for the following year.
Right, that's an established. Now it's a sunk cost when you're going on to the next one.
We start helping kids when they're 8 years old, and so by the time they get to be in high school, they should have a pretty good facility-wise as far as their structure, their pen, their ability to take care of their animal. Every year is going to increase where they need less and less assistance from us or from an ag teacher or an extension office.
So it really is this case of teach them to fish and they can feed themselves, or that kind of thing.
Yes.
What would you say is your most popular, you get kids with all kinds of interests, and this surprised me, and I have to say, I'm like Darren, there are still things that even though you grow up in Okmulgee County where agriculture is pretty much ingrained, I was surprised to learn that one of the most popular things FFA people do is rabbits. I did not know that.
The rabbit and poultry production is a big thing, and we do help them in that area too.
You always think of cows, you think of sheep,
right?
But people, starting out when you're younger, you might look at these smaller animals.
And a lot of people don't have an area where they can keep, or they live in town where they don't have the capability of keeping a larger animal, sheep, goat, pig, whatever. Whereas poultry and rabbits, they, you can have a hutch right there in your backyard.
Right.
It's extremely popular, and it's extremely it's extremely popular, and it's really productive as far as financially. The small animal deal is really one of the better ones.
Yeah, it's not as heavy an investment, not as big of a setup.
Right.
So what would you say would be next? I mean, after you get into those kind of animals, is there another one that's pretty?
We have more hogs shown, and I help more kids, young people with purchase of hogs than any other animal that we have.
Okay.
Last year at our livestock show, we had over 300 pigs on Saturday.
Wow, that's huge.
Yes, and I look for that to increase again this Saturday.
Wow.
That kind of starts our next question. What you're in here for is for the All-Indian Livestock Show. That's going to be coming up here pretty soon. Is that correct?
This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're going to be at the Mvskoke County Fairgrounds there at Okemah. We've had it there for about the last 4 years, I guess. And it's going to be 3 fun-filled days of livestock showing. We're going to show sheep and goats on Friday night, pigs all day Saturday, and then the cattle show will be Sunday afternoon.
When they are showing these animals, what are they showing them for? Like, how are they placed? How are they, how do you define, how do you pick a winner? Or
what the end result of all animals is to be harvested for meat. So muscle is where our meat is. So naturally, we're looking for a really heavy muscled animal, regardless of the species. And at the same time, they have to have a good sound structure where they're able to walk and get from feed trough or through the pasture. So their feet and legs become extremely important at the same time. So it's really, Darren, it's an accumulation of a whole lot of variables there. It's really a pretty complex when you get down to ciphering which one is the best. There's just so many variables and different factors that are involved there.
But how many I guess contestants or do you expect at your livestock shows?
Oh, we'll have over 500 through the course of 3 days.
Goodness.
Yes, we sure will. We like I said earlier, last year we had over 300 pigs. This year we've added a breeding gilt show, which is, for those not livestock people, is female swine, and they're judged a little differently than the market animals because they're there to reproduce. And we've added that show, trying to make our show a little bit better, something different. And I think it's going to be a big turnout, and I think it's going to increase our numbers again.
Now with this show, from what I'm looking at on the flyer, it's all Indian.
Yes, they have to have they either have to have a CDIB card or some type of tribal citizenship card in order to participate. Yes.
When you have these kids bringing their animals to the show, what would you say the typical range of time investment is? Like, they're coming to the show now, but when did these kids start on this?
The people with cattle, sheep, and goats have been doing this since like last May or June. Mm-hmm. So they've been at it for 7-8 months now.
Right.
The pig people, usually they purchase their animals usually in September, so they're from September till now, so we're looking at about a 5-month time frame. And they will continue to show until the middle of March. So we're really just now kind of kicking off the show season for most of them.
With one of these animals, say for instance, if you said they started last year, getting one ready for these shows. Mm-hmm. Do they, I guess, is there eventually like a time when they say, hey, I might want to sell this animal, or are there like shows like that?
Yes. I think you're trying to get at during is what we call a premium sale, where in most counties or local shows will have a premium sale, and what that is the people that were fortunate to place well, they have an opportunity to sell their animal, but they're really not selling it. You're actually making a premium bid on them. They're going to keep the animal, and you're just going to make a financial donation, and that's where the communities become involved, and that's where the support through different businesses throughout the Creek Nation basically make that work.
Pretty much just helping the kids helping the kids out and probably get them like for future.
Right. Most of the kids save their money and use it for their next project.
Yeah, so it shows them their return on their investment.
Yes, and of course I'm sure they spend a little of it, but the biggest part of it, and you'll find that almost all parents are the same. They give the kids a little bit. They put so much in a savings account. The rest of it's for next year's project.
Mm-hmm. So do you guys have like a lot of, and this is like my curiosity, personal curiosity, because like my family raises goats. Uh-huh. What is your goat showing like right now?
The goat show is extremely popular and it's extremely competitive.
The market for goats right now, like for us, like we do the red boar goats, and they have just become like money, like cash cows. We used to do cattle, and now dollar for dollar, the return on investment is so much better for a goat than it ever has been. And so we don't even really mess with cows right now.
I'm a goat person too.
Okay.
That tells you anything.
I was just curious if that was just something I was observing personally, or if
the demand for goat meat in the United States, we have different ethnicities that live here in the United States, especially back on the East Coast. The supply for goat meat is just unbelievable.
Yeah. We first got into it when my brother was working with like a lot of Hispanic families, and and like we would go down to like a Saturday picnic, and I was like, this is the most delicious thing I've ever ate. What is it? And they're like, this goat.
Yes.
And we were like, oh really? So then you kind of find yourself finding out how much people will actually pay for a goat, which is pound for pound going to make you. Plus, goats are like super easy to maintain versus like the cow.
They're pretty hardy.
Yeah, they're very hardy, and we just kind of like move our pens around, and they just mow out the fields for us. It's just
clean and beautify as they process.
And so it's like, wow, this is kind of the most best brainwave we've ever had on this like ag thing, and we've been doing that for a while. And then you get to reap the benefits because they're really tasty too. But the problem with it is like my daughter and my nieces. about this time of year when they're all being born, they are in love. I mean, the little babies are super cute, and they spend all their time hugging them, and I'm just like, oh gosh, we just don't even tell them what we're eating.
I've seen a lot of baby animals, and I'm going to put a baby goat right up there at the top of the list when it comes to cuteness.
Yeah, super cute. So, but I was curious if the goats were starting to do as well as, like, say, the pigs and cows were, because that's kind of...
They are, and the Boer goats didn't really come to the United States till in the middle of the 90s, so it's really a fairly short window when you talk about the overall scheme of things. It's a small window for the goats, but I think the future is just really bright for the goat industry.
Yeah, we have about maybe 14 head, and every one of those nannies had twins and triplets.
Right.
So, I mean, you're talking about tripling a herd in 1 year.
And they can do that twice in 1 year,
yes,
too.
Yes, they do it twice in a year. So that's versus cattle, which is a little bit harder. And we do a little bit of hogs too, but that I've been surprised growing up, and I was a kid whose family had cows in the 90s when we had the droughts, and it was hard, and people were losing all kinds of
family farms and everything.
I mean, it was
else,
bad.
yes.
You could go and try to buy a round bale of hay for $200 or $300, and it was just killing people. So the goat thing is wow, this is kind of where it's at now, and it's a little bit, it gives you a lot more wiggle room, I think, as your personal investment goes.
I think so too. You're exactly right.
So my nephews were all into showing goats and stuff like that. So they'll be the ones out there with their red Boer goats.
Is this the only show that maybe Mvskoke Creek Nation does, or is there others livestock shows that they have throughout the year that you help with?
I help the kids that are enrolled in our program throughout their entire show season.
Okay.
Even though it's not our show, this is the only show that the Creek Nation actually puts on. And sponsors. Now, the Choctaws also put on a show, and theirs is usually the week following ours.
Okay. So you kind of line them up and just go show for show.
Right, right.
All right. Well, Billy, want to thank you for being here on Mvskoke Radio, telling us about this and giving us a little background on what your program does, and also the livestock show. Could you tell us when it's going to happen again, the livestock show, and if anybody has any questions, who can they give a call to?
You can give me a call. My number's 918-843-0385. I can answer any questions you might have. We're going to do it this weekend. It's going to be Friday night is the Sheep and Goat Show. We're at Mvskoke County Fairgrounds in Okemo, Oklahoma. It's warm. We're out of the weather, so you don't have to worry about being cold. It's going to be nice. We're going to show the sheep and goats Friday, the hogs on Saturday, and Sunday afternoon we'll have the cattle show.
Perfect. Billy, thank you very much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to take a quick break here on Mvskoke Radio, so please stay tuned. We're going to be talking about the flu season and how that's been dealing with us. So, again, stay tuned to Mvskoke Radio.
Hear that? That's the sound of hope being killed by meth. Methamphetamine use is causing huge problems in our community. Hear that? That's the sound of something you can do about it. Events like rodeo, res ball, and family time can help keep kids away from meth.
Talk to your kids. Keep our culture alive. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Learn more at ncai.org.
Who am I? Am I Indian? Just 'cause I'm a girl from the res, don't make things up about me. What if I move away? Then who am I? Some kids try meth just to escape, but then I think about my grandma, my little brother, my beadwork, my poetry, and I think, I like who I am, and I know meth is not for me.
Check out ncai.org, a message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Welcome back to Mvskoke Radio here on 106.3 FM and 1240 AM, The Brew. I want to give a little, talk a little bit to our the owner here, Brooks Brewer. How you doing today, Brooks?
Good. How are you, Darren?
Doing all right, man. Well, I mean, I was here a previous time, but our last time that we were actually together was we had like a scary event.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Do you remember that pretty well?
Oh, gosh, yeah. How can we forget that?
Yeah, it was. Never did really tell you this, man, but you know, we did a lot of things right there. But I want to really tell you, thank you, man, for you're the one that was Johnny on the spot, getting a hold of our police and having them get a hold of the ambulance. I mean,
well, for the people that don't know, we had a guy collapse in the studio here and just quit breathing, heart stopped, and So that was pretty scary stuff. Yeah, for sure. And we were like, what do we do? Let's do something.
It was one of those moments to where you're like, you see it on or TV. Of course, they're going to know what to do. They're scripted. But with us, I mean, it was like you actually. I mean, I froze. I'm going to be honest. I froze before whenever we laid them down. But I mean, I remember. Even though we had them down, we're all ready to go. I remember seeing you run. I remember seeing you run over there. So I mean, it was
it was a team effort. Thank God he's all right. And
made a full recovery. Last time I checked, he was out and about doing his normal thing. So
that's good.
But Brooks, thank you again, man. I don't think I ever told you that. So I just wanted to tell you thank you for what you done.
I'm just
that day.
glad it all worked out.
Same here.
Thank you. You're the one that was there doing the chest compressions, and so.
Thank you again.
So you're in good hands as a guest on the show.
We got experience now.
Our next guest does have a scratchy throat. We don't know how to handle that part. We might have some cough drops ready to go. But our next one is Andy Peters, correct?
Right.
And she works with the Department of Health. We're going to be talking to her about the flu season that's been going on. But before we go into that, how are you doing today, Andy?
I'm good. Good.
And tell us what you do over at the Department of Health, please.
At the Department of Health, I'm the Director of Infection Prevention and Employee Health. So it's my job to protect our employees and our patients.
Bringing up the influenza season, I always like saying that word, but how I know before that y'all the Department of Health goes to the clinics and might go to the community, but they have a mobile unit.
Yes.
How was that this year? I mean, was there people coming out? They said, "Hey, we need to get vaccinated.
Yes.
We need to get ready."
During each year, during the start of the flu season, which is October 1, our public health nurses get on the bus and go to the different communities. They schedule time in the clinics, in the communities, and provide the influenza vaccine. So that, they ended that, I believe, towards the end of October, November.
Has that been a big, has that been helping out, or are y'all seeing, I guess, the cases that are coming in? Is there a lot this year, or how's that been going?
Compared to last year, we do not have the numbers of active flu cases, but I looked this morning at a report from the Oklahoma State Department of Health, and Oklahoma is widespread flu activity right now. However, we at the Department of Health have not seen the numbers of positive flu cases that we did last year. So
last year, if I'm not mistaken, they had to deal with, I guess there was a different strain.
Right.
Was that
right.
was going on? I guess they were vaccinated for one strain, but there was another strain. But I mean, that didn't deter people. They still got vaccinated when they needed to.
Yeah.
Last year was so severe, I think. I got flu for the first time, and I thought I was dying. I was like, this is horrible. So when it came flu shot time, I was for the first time ever, hopping right in line and getting it taken care of. Because I never have been that sick.
Yes, each year the flu strain can mutate. So last year it was a difficult season, and even those that were vaccinated were getting...
Still had a possible chance of getting the flu.
But with that said, even if you get the flu shot, usually if you get the flu, it's not quite as harsh on your body.
Okay.
So we still recommend getting the flu shot.
So I'm curious about the science behind this, and I'm the science geek or whatever, because when you talk about the shot and how that actually works and exposing your body to something, and then you build up the things that attack it once you do have it for real, that's kind of fascinating. And so those shots is what I've read. Maybe I'm wrong or right, you could confirm, but whether you get the perfect strand, you do have something built up to help you fight it.
Each year when you get the vaccine, it causes your body to build antibodies. Mm-hmm. And so when you are actually exposed to the flu virus, your body recognizes that and starts to fight against it. So
you're better equipped, even if it's not the most perfect
that's right.
match.
That's right.
When a person thinks that they might be having the flu or coming down with the flu, what are the symptoms?
It's usually an abrupt symptoms. It's a cough, headache. You feel fatigued, and it usually can lead to a high fever. So
Yeah, the reason why I ask is a lot of people, especially with the cough and the severe headache, a lot of people who are stubborn, and the person that's talking is that guy, will always think that it's just a cold.
Just
I'm gonna
allergies.
be okay. Yeah, just allergies. But sometimes it's not always like that. I mean, when would be like the time to
Not come and share it with your coworkers.
Yeah, not share it with the coworkers. Is that, hey, I better go get checked out. I better go get some medicine for this. Or we don't need to stay home.
I get asked that a lot, and it's difficult at first to recognize. But the thing is, with the flu, you're feeling like a train wreck. With a cold, you're just kind of, feeling not so good. But the flu is usually just comes on quickly, and your body is very tired, and you usually are running a fever with that.
I think last year I started my work day just as normal, and then by 3 p.m, I was going home and praying for death. Like I was locked myself in the room.
Sick.
Yeah, and I had the fever had even started in that short amount of time. I was just perfectly fine and chipper, and then 6 hours later, not so much.
And the bad thing with the flu, you are usually contagious a day before.
Before I ever noticed. So that's kind of how it spreads like wildfire through our offices and things like that.
With that being like that we're contagious, how does, in the Department of Health, I mean, you and all the nurses, RNs, LPNs, nurse aides, how do y'all stay, well, because y'all dealing with the sicknesses, and you're seeing the symptoms, you're seeing the runny noses constantly. How do y'all? I mean, and not be able to not get sick. How do y'all keep from getting sick?
In the Department of Health, we highly recommend getting a flu shot for all of our employees. We wear a sticker that shows that we have had the flu shot. And if for some reason a nurse or a doctor can't take the flu shot, then they wear a mask while they're providing care. We wash our hands frequently. We just try to stay in good health. And the other thing is we tell the workers, if you are sick, do not come to work, because we don't want to give our patients another illness.
With excuse me, whenever somebody thinks they are might be getting the flu, how can where could they go to for that? I know we have our clinics, but is there urgent care? Would they be able to help with that, or?
We have our clinics. You can go into there or to the ERs. What we usually do is do a swab, and we'll see if it's positive. And if it is positive, then we have, there is a prescription that you can get called Tamiflu that will help decrease the symptoms of the illness. It won't get rid of it, but it'll just decrease the symptoms.
I think what they were telling us last year was catching it early, and then trying to get it within the, get the Tamiflu kind of would shave off some of your recovery time a little bit, maybe.
Right. It'll decrease that time. Usually the flu lasts 5 to 7 days, and with Tamiflu it may lessen those days. We still have the vaccine in our clinics. The Coweta and the Sapulpa Clinic did run out, but they have reordered. So if you're going to go into those 2 clinics, make sure you call to see if it has come in yet.
And we're kind of just starting that flu season, right? I mean, is it full swing, or is it?
It starts in October. It gets ramped up at this time,
Right.
And it's usually when people come together, like over the holidays. You know, people are coming from different areas. You're in an enclosed space.
So you blame your cousin from Tennessee for
Right.
bringing the flu with them?
Right. You know,
I would.
we like to go to ball games where there's a lot of people in those places.
Mhm.
So if you're going into areas like that, into crowds, make sure that you're washing your hands frequently or carrying that alcohol rub.
Once you have the flu shot, just take it that one time. How long is that good for? Are you good for a year or?
Yeah, every year you need to, right around the October, get another flu
Go
shot.
get that flu.
Because CDC puts out a different flu shot every year.
You mentioned some of the instances where this flu shot may not be suitable. What are those? Is it like a person's like medical history kind of thing or something?
It is recommended that anyone 6 months of age or older get the flu shot.
Okay.
Now, there's some conditions that your physician will look at.
Okay.
That you could be not able to take the flu shot.
So especially with those little babies too, like I didn't realize it was as young as 6 months. So that's the little ones.
6 months and older.
Because it is like more critical with the babies and elderly, right? Like
Right,
that's when you
right.
see more severe.
And that's because their immune systems are not quite as developed at that age.
Right. Okay.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Andrea, or Andy, I want to thank you very much, and I hope you get to feeling better too yourself. But I want to thank you very much for coming down here, talking to us about the flu season. What everybody can do for to help combat influenza. If anybody has any questions, is there a number that they can call?
Yes, they can call me at 918-758-7407.
All right, perfect. Andrea Peters, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we're going to go ahead and move on here. We're going to move on here to, we got a community announcements. We don't have quite a bit, so I'll go ahead and run through those. So I'm going to give Angel a break. She brought them down here to me because, Gary, I apologize, I forgot them. So, but the first one is one of Billy Haltom's. What he's doing is the All-Indian Livestock Show, which is January 25th to the 27th. It's going to be at the Mvskoke County Fairgrounds, 999 East Columbia Street in Okemah. Any other questions on that, contact Billy Haltom at 918-732-7628. Next one, volunteers and tax assistance. The Mvskoke Loan Fund needs volunteers to help with preparing taxes. The shifts are available on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And be 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m., and 3. And also Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. And for any other questions on helping them out, please contact the Mvskoke Loan Fund at 918-549-2603. The final announcement I have is the Mvskoke Creek Nation School Clothing Program. It's available for at-large citizens as well. It started from January 3rd and it goes to December 31st. Any other questions on that? Contact 918-549-2473. And also, I got another call in about the Miss Vipe basketball. So, have a couple of Creek citizens who are on that little roster for the voting. So you can go there, you can make that vote. Just go on to Vype, VYPE.com, and vote for your favorite player. I know one citizen, Madison Factor from Sasakwa, she's on there, and I got to see her play. Very great player, but there's also other Creek citizens who are on there, and their names just slipped my head, and I had it ready to go. So, but yeah, please go there, vote for your favorite player. But I want to thank everybody again for being on the show today. That was Regina Keith, Coco Lowe, Andra Peters, and also Billy Haltom. And Angel, thank you very much for helping me out today.
No problem.
And also Brooks Brewer. Brewer done another great thing, and you'll be seeing him tomorrow out there at the Mvskoke Dome for the Okmulgee County Tournament. So if you see him out there doing the play-by-play, give him a quick wave. He'll be he can do a couple things at once. So he'll wave and he will still talk. So. But other than that, I know we're going to be a few seconds early, and I apologize, Brooks, but this is Darren DeLon signing off for another episode of Mvskoke Radio here on 106.3 FM and 1240 AM The Brew.
You've been listening to Mvskoke Radio. Join us again next week for more local, tribal, and community news and updates. Madot.
Listen to The Brew for the best classic hits of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. KOKL, Okmulgee, Oklahoma.